Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So here we're on Chaf Beis Amid Beis, the Sugya of Chanuka, Shabbos Chaf Beis Amid Beis, and the Gemara was dealing with the question of Ner L'Ner. Can you light one Chanuka candle from another Chanuka candle?
Yeah. Good morning. I'm sorry.
Good morning, Baruch.
Yeah.
So that was the Gemara Shaila.
Yeah.
George, good morning. So that was the Shaila. If you could be madlik miner l'ner, from one candle to another candle. So there were two possibilities of lighting from candle to candle, meaning one candle to the next candle, using directly wick one to wick two. Another possibility was lighting a twig, putting it into the first Chanukah lich, and from there lighting the second Chanukah lich. The difference between those two theories is bizui mitzvah or akhushe mitzvah. The Gemara basically disproved the theory of akhushe mitzvah, and the Gemara said the issue is bizui mitzvah, meaning that the machlokas between Rav and Shmuel. Rav said you may not light candle to candle, and Shmuel said you can light candle to candle. So the student who was in front of Rav Ada bar Ahava said the reason for Rav is bizui mitzvah. It's insulting to the mitzvah to light one wick directly. It's a bizui mitzvah. It's shaming the mitzvah by lighting a twig from a Chanukah candle and then using that twig to light a second Chanukah candle. It's bizui mitzvah. And Rav says you can't do that. And Shmuel says, yes, you can do that. Because at the end, what you're doing is lighting a Chanukah candle to a Chanukah candle. You're using a twig in between to do it. So Shmuel says it's okay. The Gemara proves that this analysis is correct, and therefore we have the following halacha according to the simple reading of the Gemara. The simple reading of the Gemara would result in you're allowed to light from one candle to another candle using a twig, a kisem in between. Shmuel says you're allowed to. Rav says you can. This is one of the three places where Rabbah said the halacha is like Shmuel. Even though Rabbah always followed Rav, there were three cases where he followed Shmuel. Taking off tzitzis from one garment to put on another garment, lighting candle to candle, and davar she'eino maskabin, pulling the furniture on the floor. Okay, we're not dealing with tzitzis, we're not dealing with Hilchos Shabbos, we're not dealing with Hilchos Chanuka. So therefore, the halacha is you can light one candle from another candle, just like Shmuel said. The question is, what did Shmuel mean? Did he mean wick to wick, or did he mean a twig in between the two wicks? To that, we have now proven that the student of Rav Ada bar Ahava was correct, and we're talking about using a twig. Now, if the halacha is like Shmuel, that you can light one Chanukah candle from another, and we're talking about a twig, that means that you can light one Chanukah candle with another Chanukah candle using a twig in between. We hold like Shmuel. But what happens if you want to light one Chanukah candle directly from another Chanukah candle using the wick itself? Then everybody would hold it's okay, even Rav. That seems to be the analysis right now. The Gemara said, Ma hava Allah. What's the halacha? Do we have any further proofs? And then the Gemara said, you know what? The Gemara said, I think this question comes down to, we read this Gemara last time. The Gemara says, I think this question comes down to whether Hanocha Osa mitzvah or Hadlaka Osa mitzvah. What's the mitzvah of Chanukah? Is the mitzvah of Chanukah to light the candle and that's it? Or is the mitzvah, in other words, we said that it's Pasumei Nisa. That's the lighting of Chanukah candles. So there are two ways to look at it now. The mitzvah is to light the candle, Or the mitzvah is to put the candle outside for Pasume Nisa. What's the difference? Well, there are a lot of differences. If you hold Hadlaka Osa Mitzvah and you lit the Chanuka candle, you lit the Chanuka candle inside, and now you want to take it outside, yeah, so that could be a problem because you lit the Chanuka candles in a place you shouldn't be lighting it. The mitzvah is when you light it. You lit it inside your house, and you're supposed to light it at the front door. You lit it at the wrong place. If that's the case, Hadlaka Osa Mitzvah, that wasn't done properly. But let's say Hanacha Osa Mitzvah. So you light it in your house, and then you carry the menorah carefully to your front door. That's perfect, because the mitzvah is to put the menorah in the proper place. So the Gemara said, let's look at this shaila. Is Hadlaka the mitzvah or Hanacha the mitzvah? So the Gemara said, if Hadlaka is the mitzvah, where do we find that there was a Hadlaka mitzvah? In the Beis HaMikdash. At Beis HaMikdash, the Kohen lit the menorah inside the Heichel. How did the Kohen light the menorah inside the Heichel? He didn't have a shamash. We all know what the pictures of the menorah look like. The pictures of the menorah had what? It had 7 sticks. It didn't have a little shamash sticking out of it. So how did they light it? So part of the Gemara, the few lines that we skipped dealt with that. But the way they lit the menorah was from wick to wick. There were long wicks on the menorah, and the Kohen bent wick to wick to wick to wick. So we have a precedent from the Beis HaMikdash. So if the Chanuka is like the Chanuka of the menorah in the Beis HaMikdash, the same way that in the Beis HaMikdash you can go from one candle to another candle, in your Chanuka you can go from one candle to another candle. But if the Hanacha Oisa Mitzvah and the Ikka is the Hanacha, we don't have a precedent other than the fact that you have to put the Chanuka in the proper place, and that's the mitzvah. So lighting one candle from another candle, which is not the Etzem mitzvah, would seem to be not permissible. So the Gemara was trying to prove what is the mitzvah. That's where we're up to. Is the mitzvah the hadlaka, the lighting, or is the mitzvah taking it lit and putting it outside, the hanach? The Gemara at the bottom of Chaf Beis Amid Beis says, Toshma, come in here. I mentioned this yesterday to someone, 2 days ago. We were talking about something, a certain issue, and I said to him, we know Nebuch today in America, for those of us who grew up in America in the 60s, the college campuses in America in the 60s would do what you want, how you want, say what you want, dress the way you want. It was hippie, hippies, bippies. Everything on college campus was different than everyone else does. Everybody else took a clean haircut. Here you had ponytails. All women shaving their heads, bell-bottom pants, running around naked at Woodstock. The whole point of the college campus was to educate kids that everything goes. Everybody can say whatever they want, and everybody can do whatever they want. Those are the days of George Carlin using nasty, vulgar language in his comedy shows on radio. And when the FCC tried to shut him down, he took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, you can't stop a person from saying what he wants to say. So this was the time in college campuses where the education was, everybody has the right to say what they want. Today, mamish in the last couple of years became an apoichu. The college campuses of mamish become bastions of fascism. If you don't say what the progressives believe, the radicals believe, they will torment you, they will harass you. The professors don't get tenure. v'chulu, v'chulu. I mentioned to my wife yesterday, they took a poll across America, university campuses. Over 60% of university students said they do not express their true beliefs or feelings in a classroom for fear of intimidation. So I was talking to a person, I said, look at the beautiful Gemara. What does the Gemara say when it wants to prove something? When it wants to discuss an issue? Ta shma. Ta means come. Ta shma. I invite you to come. Ta means come. I invite you to come. Just listen to me. I'm not forcing anything down your throat, but let's have a discussion. Listen to me. I'll listen to you. And this is the famous towards the Gemara Toshma. Come and just listen. Have an open mind to what I want to say. So the Gemara says Toshma. Come in here. The Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, the last line on Daf Chav Beis Amid Beis, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said, this is a very interesting case, and this will prove the Gemara's point that Hadlaka is Osa Mitzvah. Ashoshes. Ashoshes is a leichter. Okay, that's the way the Gemara talks about a leichter. You have an ashoshes. Gehoisa dailekes v'leches kol hayom kulei. You lit your leichter Friday afternoon, and it's a huge leichter. It has huge cups in it, and you can put enough oil in these cups to last 48 hours. Okay. We've seen such cups. You can see it at Meiron by the Kever of Shim Bayechoy. They have these big cups. You can mamish, they put a wick in there. They fill up the oil like once a week. Who knows? Maybe once a month. So a person lights his Shabbos. We're not talking about Chanuka. He lights his Shabbos leichter and puts a tremendous amount of oil into it. And it lights the entire Shabbos. Now Motzoi Shabbos is Chanuka. What does he have to do to convert that Shabbos light into Chanuka light? It says as follows, Mechaba. First you have to blow it out, Umadlika. And then you have to relight it. The Gemara says, if the mitzvah is lighting, then I understand this rule. Why? Because when you lit it Friday afternoon, you lit it for the purposes of Shabbos. Now, when you want to yotze the mitzvah of Chanukah, you have to blow it out and relight it. Simple. But if you're going to tell me the lighting is not the mitzvah, what's the real mitzvah? Putting the Chanukah menorah in the right place. Why do you have to blow it out and relight it? Machaba, umagbia, umanicha, umadlika. You need more steps. If you have the Chanukiah lit from Friday, to blow it out and you relight it, did you do the mitzvah of Chanukah if the Hanukkah is also mitzvah? No. Hanukkah means you have to pick it up and put it in its place. So the instruction should have been Machaba, blow it out, Madlika, relight it. I'm sorry, Machaba, blow it out, Magbia, pick it up, Manicha, now put it down, Umadlika. And then you light it, miboile. In other words, if the hadlaka is the mitzvah, then it's simple. Blow it out, relight it. The lighting is the mitzvah, you're done. But if the hanacha is the mitzvah, then you have to blow it out, pick it up, put it in the where you want to put it, and then light it. Because the hanacha is the mitzvah. So that proves that the hadlaka is the mitzvah. V'oi, the Gemara says, I have another proof. Midaka mivachinan asher kiddushanu b'mitzvoisa v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Chanukah. Since the blessing is the hadlakas ner Chanukah, so you see the mitzvah is the lighting. Shmamina, what do I hear from here? Hadlaka oisa mitzvah shmamina. That the mitzvah is the lighting, not the placing of the Chanuka. It's the lighting. Therefore, let's go back to the beginning of the Sugya. If the lighting is the mitzvah, the same way in the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash, the lighting was the mitzvah because there's no hanacha in the Beis Hamikdash. We don't have any halacha, any precedent that the kohen, when he walked into the heichal, he lifted up the menorah and put it back down. Not that he can even lift it up; it was solid gold. But it's not possible that in the Beis Hamikdash the mitzvah was to pick it up and put it down in its place. In the Beis Hamikdash, it was clearly the hadlaka is oisa mitzvah. And if the hadlaka oisa mitzvah, we just proved by now, the hadlaka oisa mitzvah in the Beis Hamikdash meant what? Wick to wick. So if I just proved that the Chanuka, the mitzvah is hadlaka, so also wick to wick. Okay. So I proved my point. Now, do I mean wick to wick or wick with a twig in between? It sounds like even with a twig in between, because we already said before that Shmuel is the halacha that you can be matlik miner l'ner, and the Talmud, the young student, said the reason is bisui mitzvah, and then it can only be through a twig. Now take a look at Tosfos. Tosfos on Chaf Gimel Amud Aleph says, Shma mina hadlaka ose mitzvah. The second Tosfos on the Yomid, very small Tosfos. Tosfos says, Imkain, if now that you've proven that the hadlaka is the mitzvah, muta lahadlik miner l'ner. It means you're allowed to light from candle to candle. And if we follow the logic of the Gemara, candle to candle would even mean through a twig in between. Raisa says, since the minig became to be machmir, the minig should not be changed. So what that means is our minig is not to light a Chanuka candle from a Chanuka candle. Meaning, the fourth night of Hanukkah, you lit the fourth stick, you lit the third stick, you lit the second stick, you lit the first stick. Stick number 3 or stick number 2 suddenly blows out. You want to relight, you don't have to. Remember what we learned earlier? Kofsa einay zakukla. Once you lit it, you're done. You yaitz the mitzvah. Lahadlik ner, you lit it, you're done. But now it blew out. And you don't like to look at blown out Hanukkah candles when they blew out 10 seconds after you lit them. So what does everybody do? If one of the candles blew out, you relight it. How do you relight a blown out Hanukkah candle? You take the shamish and you relight the blown out candle. But you do not take the shamish. Let's say the shamish blew out. Okay, it's the fourth night of Hanukkah. You lit 4, 3, 2, 1. Actually, you lit the fourth stick, the third stick, the second stick, the first stick. The third stick and your shamish blew out. What do you have to do? You have to strike a match, relight your stove, relight the shamish, and then once the shamish is relit, you can relight candle 3. But you can't relight the shamish from candle 4, candle 2, or candle 1. You cannot relight a shamish from one of the other Hanukkah candles. If a candle, a Chanuka candle blows out, you can't relight it directly or indirectly from another Hanukkah candle. Strike a match and relight the Hanukkah candle, or use the shamish. If the shamish blew out, strike a match, light up the shamish, and from the shamish, light the Hanukkah candle. And here we have one of those interesting cases, and there are so many of these in halacha, where we just did the analysis of the Gemara. Tosfos says Shma mina hadlaka oisa mitzvah. That's the introductory words of Tosfos. Tosfos is quoting the Gemara. I prove to you the hadlaka is oisa mitzvah. And if I prove to you the hadlaka is oisa mitzvah, what's the rational conclusion? You can light one Chanukah from another. You can do it. Tosfos says, but there's a minig lahachmir. There's a minig not to do it. So here you have a case where although the halacha would say you can do something, the minig became not to do it. Okay, we'll continue the Gemara now. Chaf Gimel Amud Aleph. V'hashta damrinan hadlaka oisa mitzvah. Now that I proved to you that the mitzvah is the lighting of the Chanukiah, not the placement, let's say you appoint a shliach to light your Chanukah candles. Now, this is a whole sugya in itself. We're not going to go into shlichus. But let's say you ask a person who's a chayrish, he's deaf, and chayrish has certain halachas, a shaita, a person that is insane not in terms of secular law insanity. Halacha has its own parameters for what shaita is, or katan. You say to your 8-year-old, you know what? Light the Chanukiah for me. You're not yoytz to the mitzvah, because none of these people are mechuyev to do the mitzvah, and if they're not mechuyev, they can't do it for you. Just like if you ask a katan on Rosh Hashanah, you have an 11-year-old who knows how to blow shofar. He blows it so loud they can hear it across the world. Beautiful Tekiyah Trutke, but he's only 11 years old. Can he be moitzi someone with the Tekiyah shofar?
No.
The halacha is you need a bar chiyuv. In order to be moitzi someone else, the person that's doing it has to be chayiv in the mitzvah. So let's take the case of a katan. A katan is not chayiv in the mitzvah. See, he can't light for you. He can't light for you. And since the mitzvah is lighting, he can't do the mitzvah for you. But what happens if hanacha was oisa mitzvah? In that, let's say we paskin that the hanacha is oisa mitzvah, then what would happen? You can ask a katan to light the menorah for you. That's not a problem. The katan would light it, and you, the adult, would take it and put it in the proper place. Is that a problem if hanacha is oisa mitzvah? None whatsoever. The placing of the menorah is the mitzvah. You can ask a 6-year-old, please light the menorah. He'll light it. You'll pick it up and put it in and put it down, put it in its place. So that would be possible if hanacha oisa mitzvah. But the Gemara says, now that I proved to you that the hadlok is oisa mitzvah, the lighting is the mitzvah. Achei v'shoyta v'katan loy osa v'loy klum. You cannot ask a chayva shoyta katan to light, because the lighting is the mitzvah. They're not mechuyev, therefore they can't be motzi somebody else. Isha, a woman, vaday madlika. And this leads to all kinds of halachic discussions. To me, it's pretty clear what the Gemara means. But people get nervous about these kind of Gemaras for no reason whatsoever. But people like to get nervous as soon as the Gemara says a woman can do something. Look, I'm not a Tzohar rabbi, okay? I'm not a Tzohar rabbi. Absolutely not. I have no shaykhs to Tzohar. I think a lot of the things that they do are way beyond the scope of what is allowed to be done. But when the Gemara says something that seems crystal clear, I don't know why we need to use the grubber Yiddish finger to try to twist into something it's not. The Gemara says, Isha vade madlika. A woman certainly can light. Now, what context is the Gemara talking about? The Gemara says, a child who's not bar mitzvah or a chevish or a katan cannot light for you. You're a man. And you cannot have a chevish shoyt or a katan light for you. But a woman can light for you. You can't read the Gemara any other way. You can't trade the Gemara. A cherish, shoita, and cotton can't light for you because they're not mechuyev in the mitzvah.
Women are mechuyev in the mitzvah.
So the conclusion is, a 6-year-old can't light for you because he's not mechuyev in the mitzvah. The same way he can't blow shofar for you, he can't light for you. But a woman, vaday madlika, a woman certainly can light for you. Why? Because she's mechuyev in the mitzvah. She's mechuyev in lakas necham. That's the Gemara. What does that mean? So when you go to Shulchan Aruch and the Noisa Kalim, the Shulchan Aruch and the Noisa Kalim say that Isha Vaday Madlika means a woman certainly can light and she can be motzi her husband. But if the husband is lighting, then the wife should not light. Because ishtoi kegufe, and the woman is yotze with her husband's lighting of the menorah, and that's the way almost all Jewish homes operate. Women who are married, they yotze the mitzvah of Ner Chanuka by their husband lighting. A tremendous amount of research would have to be done. I did some. I didn't complete my research over the years. How this became the given that a woman is yotze through her husband. The Gemara seems to be saying that, for example, a 6-year-old can't light for you. He's not mechuyev in the mitzvah. But a woman, and I look at the words of the Gemara, cherish, shoita, v'cotton, loy asa klum. A cherish, a shoita, and a cotton, nothing. They can't light for you because they're not mechuyav. Isha, the Gemara could have said Isha madlika, but a woman can light. Look at the word the Gemara put in. Isha vaday madlika. The Gemara, for emphasis, the Gemara says a woman, for sure she can do it. What's that for sure business in the middle? What's that word for sure? The Gemara could have easily said, Cherish shoita v'cotton loy asa v'loy klum, Isha madlika. The Gemara seems to be saying that if there's any doubt in anyone's mind about a woman, vaday madlika, she certainly can light. Not a woman light. She certainly lights. She's mechuyev in it. Nevertheless, the way, just like Tosfos said, what did Tosfos just say? That if you follow the strict analysis of the Gemara, then you can light one candle from another candle, but nevertheless the minhag became not to do it. You read the Gemara straight. The Gemara says a woman is mechuyev to light. So that would mean a married woman should light her own Chanuka. What did the minhag become? That a married woman does not light her own Chanuka. He lights and is yotze through her husband. How that happened? That's a historical question. There's some cipher on it. There's a historical question about how this happened. But that became the minhag that married women are yotze the mitzvah through the lighting of their husband. Now you have another question. What about single girls, your daughters? Should your daughters be lighting Chanuka candles? Here also, my father, Zechrono Levracha, had my sisters, before they were married, my sisters lit Chanuka candles. All my daughters, when they were single, they lit Chanuka candles. We had a window, the window full outside. My sons, my daughters, everybody lit Chanuka candles. There are people that are noyig that even girls who are single don't light, and only boys light. And all the girls in the family are yotze through the father. The mother's yotze through the father. The girls are yotze through the father. And that became a minhag for some people as well. But in terms of a married woman, the vast majority of people, a woman is yotze through her husband, and that's how it's become. There are women that do light by themselves, married women that light a separate Chanukiah from their husband. You're allowed to do it, and it's not a bracha levatala. The minhag, again, however, is to light through your husband. Okay, that's a big sugya in itself. People get nervous. That's what the Gemara says. There's an interesting Chsam Sofer. Now, you have to understand the Chsam Sofer was in Hungary. There are two parts of Hungary. In those days, they called it Unterlander and Oberlander. Yeah. There was a cake company in America called Oberlander. Yeah. You were able to keep your Oberlander cakes from year to year. Oberlander made kosher Pesach cake, and you can keep it from one Pesach to another Pesach because there was 50% ingredients and 50% preservatives. So there was Oberlander. So there were two parts of Hungary, Oberlander, Unterlander. Sam Seifer was in Hungary, and in Hungary, apparently, and we're talking about 1820s, 1830s, they were very, very strict, supposedly, although we don't see this later in history. They were very strict about women in public places. Sam Seifer says that the David HaMelech said in Tehillim, Kol Kvoida Bas Melech Penima, a famous pasuk in Tehillim. Kol Kvoida Bas Melech, all of the dignity of the daughter of a king, a Jewish girl, daughter of a king, the dignity of a Jewish girl, Penima, is to be inside. She shouldn't be walking outside in public. She has to go shopping, this and that. Okay, today, I don't know where the Kol Kvoida Bas Melech Penima has taken us. Women are in the workplace with frum men and frum women. The banks, the banks are full of women. The women are not inside the house. Okay.
Women judges.
Women are not inside the house. Women have become Magidei Shir. Okay, women are not in the house. But when they were Kol Kavoida Bas Melech Penima, the Chsam Sofer says that since the mitzvah of Hadlakas Ner Chanukah, where do you do the real Parsume Nisa? Is outside. You light your Chanukah candles outside your house. And therefore the minhag became that we avoid having women step outside the threshold of their house to light the Chanukah candles. We don't want them to step outside. So Kol Kavoda Bas Melech Penima, they remain inside, and they yotze the Chanukah Hadlaka through their husbands. So the Chsam Sofer says. Okay. And that's how he interprets the Gemara, means that a woman lights if she doesn't have a husband. Okay, look, we read the Gemara. The Gemara says what it says. Achei v'shoita in cotton, loy asa v'loy klum. Achei v'shoita in cotton cannot light. It doesn't mean a cotton can't light. We have our children lighting. They can light for themselves. And there's a mitzvah chinuch that children should light. That's not the issue. What the Gemara is talking about is a cotton like asa like klum. If a person asks a child, please light the Chanukiah for me, he's not yotze in the mitzvah. It's no different than asking a 6-year-old to blow shofar for you. He's not obligated. He's not mechuyev. He can't be moitzi somebody else. A cotton is not mechuyev in hadlakas ner Chanukah except for chinuch, and therefore he can't light for someone else. But isha, a woman, vaday madlika, not just madlika. Isha vaday madlika, a woman for sure, no doubt, is madlik. She can light and she can be moitzi her husband. The minhag became man is moitzi his wife. Now, how do we know that an isha is vaday madlika? Rabbi said, what's the big problem here? Noshim achayev in mitzvahs asay she'ein hazman grama. But women are potter from all mitzvahs asay shazman grama. A woman has to have a mezuzah. If a woman owns a home, she has to put up a mezuzah. Why? Because mezuzah is 24/7. Shabbos, Yontif, Rosh Chodesh, night, day, 24/7. A woman owns a house, she has to have a mezuzah. A woman is mechuyev to eat matzah the night of Pesach, but it's a mitzvah asay shazman grom. It only comes from time to time. The Gemara has a special pasuk to teach us that women have to eat matzah on Pesach. Women are not mechuyev in tefillin. Why? Either because tefillin are not worn at night, or tefillin are not worn on Shabbos. So therefore, it's a mitzvah that's dependent on time. Women are potter. Women are potter from hearing shofar on Rosh Hashanah. Why? Because shofar comes at specific points in time, twice a year. Women are not mechuyev to hear Tekiyah shofar. The minute became women want to hear shofar, gesund to hate. There's a question in halacha about blowing shofar for a woman. Do you make a bracha? Let's say a man was already yotze Tekiyah shofar. He comes home, he wants to blow shofar for his wife. The minig of the Sfardim, and that's how the Beis Yosef paskins, is a man who was already yotze Tekiyah shofar. He can blow for his wife, but he's not allowed to make a bracha because the woman's not mechuyev in shofar. What are you making a bracha for? Can the woman make a bracha? The woman can't make a bracha either. She's not mechuyev in Tekiyah shofar. You can blow for her. We paskin as Ashkenazim like the Rabbeinu Tam that a man that blows shofar for a woman can make a bracha. Whatever reason, he can make a bracha. So we have this kasha here. Chanuka is a mitzvah that comes only 8 days a year. It comes from time to time. If it's a mitzvah that comes from time to time, women are potter. If women are potter, why did the Gemara just say Isha vade madlika? A woman is mechuyev and she can light the Chanuka candles to be mitzi her husband or mitzi other people. But she's potter. It's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah shazman garam. It's a rabbinic mitzvah. It's not a biblical mitzvah. It's a rabbinic mitzvah shazman garam. As the Gemara explains. The Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi explained to us. Nashim chayavos b'ner Chanuka. Nashim are required to light ner Chanuka. The afhein hayu b'oisanes. Because women also were part of the Chanuka miracle. Rashi, hayu ba'osa hanes, the Gazru Yavonim, the Greek Syrians made a gzeira, al kol psulois hanasulois libor letafset chila, val yidei isha nasa hanes. There was a gzeira by the Greek Syrians that any Jewish girl who got married, before she got married, some Syrian, Greek Syrian general had the right to have relations with her. It was a gzeira. There's a very interesting pachad yitzchak on what this gzeira was about. It wasn't a gzeira of gili arayas. It wasn't a gzeira just for the sake of sexual relations. It had a much deeper context to it. But that's what there was a gzeira, Rashi says, that women who got married, first, some Greek Syrian general would have the right to have relations with her. One, so the miracle of Chanuka saved the women from this terrible thing. So what are you going to say to a woman? No, you can't lie. No, you can't make a bracha. They're part of the miracle. Val yedei isha nasa. Second reason, the miracle of Chanuka, part of the miracle occurred through Yehudis. Yehudis killed that Greek Syrian general, and that started a whole revolution. So since a good part of the revolution started by this courageous act by Yehudis, therefore, women are part of the miracle, and if they're part of the miracle, they're mechuyev in hadlokas ner Chanuka. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi is the author of this statement. Nashim chayavas b'ner Chanuka she'af hein hoyu ba'osa hanes. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi is also the author of two other statements that are identical. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says in Masechta Psachim, women are mechuyev to drink 4 cups of wine leil Pesach. We know women are mechuyev to eat matzah. That's a biblical commandment, and the Gemara has a pasuk that teaches us women must eat matzah the night of Pesach. But Dalit Kosos is a rabbinical mitzvah, and it's a mitzvah that comes only on the night of Pesach. So it's a mitzvah that comes from time to time. If it's a mitzvah that comes from time to time, women don't have to drink the 4 kaises. How do I know that women do have to drink the 4 kaises? Says again, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Masechet Pesachim, Afhein hayubo sanes. What are we going to do in Mitzrayim? Leave the women behind to the Egyptians and only the men are going to leave? The women left Mitzrayim also. And the 4 kaises is to remind us of the 4 words of Geula. Women were part of that Geula. Therefore, women, even though drinking wine, the 4 kaises on Pesach, is a mitzvah that only comes from time to time, women are mechuyev in doing that mitzvah. Then there's another, third Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, in Masechta Megillah. Women are mechuyev to hear Megillah on Purim. Why are women mechuyev to hear Megillah on Purim? It's a mitzvah that only comes from time to time. So why are they mechuyev? Same reason. Afhein hayu ba'oisai nes. Women were also saved. What did Haman want to do? Lahashmid laharag es kol hayudim minav ad zaken tap v'noshim. He wanted to kill women. So what are we going to say to the women? You can stay home. Only men have to hear Mikra Megillah. But they were saved also by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So they become part of Mikra Megillah. So we have 3 places in Shas where Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says, even though we're dealing with a mitzvah that comes from time to time, and logically a woman would not be mechuyav in these mitzvahs, because of af hen hayu b'oisanes, women also are part of this miracle. They have to do these 3 mitzvahs, even though they come from time to time. Which are the 3 mitzvahs? Chanuka candle lighting comes from time to time, but they were saved. One of the 2 reasons Rashi says is either Yehuda started the revolution or the women were saved from that terrible gezerah of the Greek Syrian generals. The second case is the Dalit Kosis Lil Pesach comes from time to time. Women have to drink it because they also left Mitzrayim. And the third case is Mikra Megillah on Purim. Women are mechuyev in Mikra Megillah on Purim because also Avhein Hayu B'Ois Hanes. Those are the 3 Avhein Hayu B'Osa Hanes, Mikra Megillah, Chanuka, and Dalit Kosis. Each of them are authored by Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi.